Hi, it's Peggy at Headshots by Peggy, and we are back with part 2 with Merrick McCartha, and we are going to talk about marketing some more.
We are.
So last week we talked about postcards and how effective they are, and how to use them effectively.
Right. So we went over a couple things. I talked a bit about if you haven't been in the office, you can write something simple that you research. At least you know if they're casting. You'd be surprised how many times they get actors just sending them blind postcards just saying, hire me, almost literally. And it's completely ineffective because they have no, unless they happen to be looking for, someone who's specifically your type.
And you have like a very unique type.
I know. You've got like a Hitler mustache and it's gray, and then you've got red hair. And like, oh my God, that's when it's going to be effective. Otherwise, no, they're seeing everyone. So the other time is when you've been into the office at least once and you're reminding them, hey, thanks for letting me audition for this show last week. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you again soon. Totally effective. Another thing I brought up was that if you have been into them before and you sort of at the beginning of the next season reminding them, hey, thanks again for bringing me in last season for this show, and look forward to hope to see you again soon. Something like that is fine. You can mention any shows that you booked, which is another thing that people do, is send a postcard out to people that cast a show, that cast characters like the ones you just booked. Mm-hmm. And you know they're probably looking at some of the same shows for their cast and say, hey, I just booked this role on this show. And I'm really excited. I hope you can check it out. That's fine too. Again, the booking postcard is probably one of the more popular ones because it is effective in letting the casting people know, I book stuff. I'm a working actor. It's for real. You're going to see me on this show. And that does make an impact. In fact, representatives pitch their actors that way. A lot of times, if you just book something, your agents are going to go, great, my client, this is so-and-so, he just booked Will and Grace. He'd be a great fit for this, something like that. But one of the things they talk about is what you just booked. And it really, the industry can be, it's about what have you done lately. And so being able to show them you've got something, that you've done something lately, it can be enticing for a person that's calling people in for auditions. So I just booked this postcard is fantastic to use as well. Here's another one if you're thinking about this. The awards, the Emmys, the Oscars. The Artios Awards, Artios, A-R-T-O-I-S, is an award for casting directors. Casting officers are nominated for these awards and win awards for this every year. And how often do you think they get a postcard from actors that know they were nominated or know that they won? And saying, congratulations, I heard you won. I heard you were nominated for your casting work on the show. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Hope to see you soon. Hope to work on this wonderful show with you sometime. That's fine, because now you're telling them, I'm not just a good actor, but I know the industry, and I appreciate you, and I can recognize your good work, and that's an important, powerful thing. Because casting tends to be one of the more unsung professions in the industry.
And I mean, if you think about it, I look at shows and I'm like, oh my God, this was cast perfectly. Mm-hmm. And you know that if it's cast differently, it would be a completely different show.
Sure.
We see plays where you see the exact same play, but the alternate cast, it's a totally different play. And and so casting is a gift.
Yeah.
It's a real talent.
Yeah.
So, to show them like, hey, you work hard and I get it. And show them a little respect because nobody talks about who cast it. It's not.
Yeah,
we
in the
do,
casting
but that's
community,
because
as actors and agents, we are absolutely up and aware. But most of the industry doesn't really give that appreciation. So that's a great postcard to send out is the award nominee for an Artios Award or an Emmy. That's great too. Hey. And so I think they may be doing a casting Emmy or something like that, I believe. But just that their show is nominated because they're a factor in that show's cast. They are proud that their show is winning an Emmy because that looks good for them as well. They were on their IMDb page. They have an awards section now or they will have awards or nominations for Emmy or Oscar because of something they cast. They're listed as part of the casting department, and that is something that's important. So recognize that. Send out when you see that there's awards or nominations going out. Now you've got legitimate opportunities to send them a postcard that aren't just out of the blue, aren't just hire me. You're going to something else. And these are basic marketing principles. When you go to you're trying to let someone know, hey, I understand what you're trying to do and I have that solution. That's what powerful marketing is.
Exactly.
Not just give me money. Whether I know you need my help or not, that's kind of
right.
One of
it's kind of like when you're in the grocery store parking lot and somebody just starts washing your windshield and then charges you for it.
Yeah.
You're like, wait,
yeah, and then you give them the money because you're like, but
it's not going to work like that for casting.
No, you're not going to go back to get your.
They're not going to go. They're not going to give you the job.
No.
So always like any relationship, it's got to be a give and a take, and you need to show value to them.
Yeah.
But you need to show that you're respectful and you're not just that person that's like me.
Yeah. And no matter how truly desperate you might be as an actor, you really have to take these things into account, and keep an open mind about this. So the things that I tell you and the things that Peggy tells you, this is coming from people who not only have experience in the industry for what we do, but we've talked to other people who have years and years and years of experience in this industry and know what's really going on. So watch all of her vlogs because the last several, since a while you've been getting these fantastic experience.
I just really have really good guests and take advantage of it. It's free. Who gets to sit down with the Casting About guys for 2 hours, or Bill Duke for 2 hours, or Merrick McCartha for 2 hours.
Right, and these are the things that we do. Peggy and I, because each of us in our own industry, her as in photography, mine in acting, is that we kind of always take into account the factor of what would have meant to me to have this available to me when I started. To me to have some insight from a casting office or an agent or a legendary director, what they're looking at. These are things that I didn't have the insight for. There are books written about marketing, and it's not going to be as effective as seeing so many different people all in one media like this one to kind of tell you what's going on, what's currently happening. So as the industry changes, you want to stay on top of it. You want to keep in touch with the industry
and realize that we aren't in the film industry anymore. We're in the media industry, so there is a lot of different things that you can do now. There's a lot of things available to you that wasn't available 10 years ago.
Absolutely. And again, I know people think the postcards are outdated, but they are still useful. So don't think that there's something you don't need to bother with. They may be another very important aspect of your work as an actor to keep yourself working. Of course, the training is important. Of course, the singing or dancing, if you do that, are important. Of course, the submissions that you're putting out are important. Of course, keeping your headshots up to date are important, but also making the connections and building the relationships with the casting industry, with the industry in general, is what's very, very important for you to continually work and build and elevate your career.
So I'm gonna tell a story about you, and I didn't ask for permission, so we're just gonna do it.
All right.
So a couple of months ago, maybe it hasn't even been that long ago, you went in an audition for this specific show, and you got put on a veil. You got pinned, and a week went by, and you got unpinned. And the very next week, you got called in for the very same show, and you got pinned again. And then you got let go from the pen again.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, the casting director called you in for a different show completely. And did you book that one?
Oh, that was just recently, so I don't know if that was.
It was like, so when you're on their mind, and they like you, so the postcards, they're putting them on my. The other thing that's happened to you before is, do you want to tell them when what happened? It was a commercial audition. You don't know what I'm talking about.
No, tell me. The commercial audition one.
You were auditioning for one commercial, and you saw.
Right. So this again is about reminding casting people of you. and how important that is in this industry. So I was in this commercial office the other day for a commercial. It's one of those offices where the office workers, they have this, it's a glass partition so they can see everyone in the waiting room. I'm going in there, go about my audition, leave. Later that day, I get another audition for the very same office. I am positive it's just because
they saw you.
While I was casting, I looked up, oh yeah, that guy.
Hey, he'd be good.
Yes, and that's just, again, being reminded of them. So it's that's one of the and this came to me because I went through a period where I had auditioned for one office in particular, a couple offices in particular, several times, and then all of a sudden it stopped. Like I wasn't getting called anymore, and I was asking people, "What? Is it me? Am I terrible? Or they hate me?" I don't know. And so I talked to a few people, and it came to me that they made it clear to me that no, it's just that sometimes they're just going through a cycle, and it's not that they don't like you. It's just that they have been sort of overwhelmed with other people that you've just kind of been pushed back in their minds since the last time a role came across that you're fit for. And so when another role comes across, maybe they don't remember you as much because you've gotten pushed so far back. And so what's a better way for them to remember you? Quick postcard every now and again.
Yeah.
So they know, oh yeah, that's right, that guy, we were trying to get the guy on everything.
Yeah.
And then you get called in.
Yeah, because they look at thousands of submissions every day.
Mm-hmm.
They probably love hundreds of actors. So you want to be in that group of actors that they love.
Right, and not only that, but the ones that they...
Yeah, but, it's still a big group.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to be at the bottom of that group. So reminder, remember?
Yes.
And, that's
yeah, and that's really something you want to take into account when you're using postcards. So postcards are not useless. They're not even obsolete. They're still effective.
So I'm going to explain, because I know how my brain works. So I know there are actors out there going, yeah, but how do you know who you auditioned for last year?
Okay.
And I know how you know, because your brain works differently than mine, and you sit down on Excel almost every night and put notes on things. But just kind of tell people how this is your career. You got to do the book work.
Yeah, and again, this is part of the work, the part of the business
Mm-hmm.
work. As much as we love being in front of people or being in front of the camera, and being in training, we really got to do some business work for this as well. If this is your business, then you got to know what to do to keep it going. One of the things is, how do you put together this list of casting offices that you've been to? Go through your auditions. I don't care. Go through your email, do a search, put in audition. You'll see the stream of emails of a bunch of things. Go through each one, pick out which ones were the new auditions for that time frame. And in those audition notices that you get through email, they will always give you the address of the office. Now, I would verify that with Casting About, only because even though you get an audition to come to this office to audition for them, that may not be their mailing address for that office. Sometimes casting offices, they will rent out a space on Paramount Lot to audition people. Sometimes they go to a different audition space where they can rent out separate rooms for their projects. It just depends. But Casting About tends to have the mailing address for the casting office. And if they don't, then sure, go and try to send the postcard over to the office that you went to for that audition. I'll tell you this, honestly. I can send out, 25 postcards or so for that, remember me from the last year. And I probably get one or two that get kicked back. And they were
every time.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's okay. You don't look at it as a failure. Just, hey, you don't know their address. It's okay. You put in your effort.
Tried.
You put in your work, and that's what's important. That's what you need to make sure that you acknowledge for yourself that you're doing the work. Because as much as we love being in front of the camera, being in the lights, being pampered, being paid a ton of money for 2 hours of real work as an actor, there is still other work behind it. The training is one, but also the marketing is another. And this is just one aspect, postcards.
Yeah, it's one aspect that, it's a very inexpensive, and if you do it right, it can be, effective. So
Right.
It's, I guess for the amount of financial investment that you have to do for this,
Mm-hmm.
then really what do you have to lose? You know,
Right.
There's no reason not to do it.
Right.
Even if you send out 25 postcards and only one casting director calls you in, that's one audition you wouldn't have had.
Right.
And maybe you book it, maybe you don't, but that's one audition you wouldn't have had.
Right. And these, again, not leaving so much to chance all the time. A lot of actors that I meet, they have this sense of, it's just going to happen for me. It's just going to happen. They're just going to see me and love me. And it's like, that has happened for people, sure. But it's, by and large, people put in the work to get there. And that's where you want to be, to lessen that, that fairy tale factor. And
I've actually had clients tell me, because, we're here, we talk. And I've actually had clients tell me that they hang out at the Grove at Starbucks, and they think that they're just gonna be sitting there drinking their coffee, and somebody's gonna walk in and go, "Oh my God, I need you for my next project." It's probably not gonna happen.
No, yeah, I think that's a big myth too. Is the idea that you're just gonna meet someone. I mean, there's so many factors that go into play with casting right now that you really don't want to have that rely on you. Sure, you can be open to that happening, but don't rely on that and not do anything else.
Right.
Because you're thinking, I'm just going to hang out at the Grove and
Right.
wait for a star
At
to
least
walk
if
in.
you're hanging out at Starbucks waiting for some,
Yeah.
great director or producer to walk in, at least be on your computer making out your list or something. Because,
Something.
Yeah, I feel like, acting is such a, my job too. I mean, I can't make people, come. I get work when I get work, and same with you. But there's so many people involved in an actor getting actually hired. You have to have good headshots. A headshot is not going to get you booked, but a headshot can get you in the door. It can get you noticed.
Sure.
And then the casting director has to love you, and then the actual clients have to love you.
Right.
And then, it's
and sometimes a network has to love you.
And so there's all these variables.
Yeah.
And I feel like it can feel really helpless. Like, as an actor, it's like, well, but when you get proactive and you do, then at least you feel like you have a little control in it. Like, at least you're putting, you're not just sitting at home,
No.
playing video games,
No.
or you're doing something proactive. It's your career, you're serious, and it puts you in that mindset where you're kind of like, you can feel a little edgy, like, hey, I know I'm doing my thing, so when you do get called in, you just have a different attitude about yourself.
Right.
And that shows to people.
It does show. It does show that you are professional and that you have some sense of confidence. And that's part of where it comes from. The actors that walk in without that sense of confidence is because they probably haven't really done a lot of the work. And now they're nervous because they don't know, what do I do? What do I think? What happens if this or that? When you put in the work, you've done the training, you've gotten your marketing act together, you've got great headshots, and you've been submitting and you've getting to know the industry. When you walk in that room, you have that sense of, this is what I do. This is what I do, and I'm here to solve your problem. So look at it that way, for sure.
What else should we tell them?
I think, just the sense of, I think you talked about the headshots not getting you booked. I think I was going to say the postcards. So just a little format thing. Your postcard can have, your headshot covering the whole thing, or just part of your headshot, and then some little words with your information on there. You want to have your current representation information, probably not your phone number, certainly not anything that can give them like private access to you necessarily. I think, are we still doing QR codes or whatever?
I still do, but that's because I always thought QR codes were cool. I don't think anybody else does them, but I'm not going to ever stop.
No, you can probably have that on there as well. I'm just going to have them so they can quickly scan it and check your website. That's okay. And in the front where you're writing your words, you have their address, and then you have you can have a little picture of yourself in there too. So there's two ways to make sure that if they look at any part of your postcard, they're going to see your face.
That's
and
a good idea.
that's important too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just, don't take certain things for granted. Make sure that you understand that your work is not, in this career, is not just a training and not just submitting. It is marketing yourself to casting people.
And having a great headshot is part of marketing, obviously.
Absolutely, and that's what I was going to get to. Is always remember that these tools to market, they're meant to be after you have a certain foundation of something to present. So you just get in the industry, you get great headshots, and you get an agent right away, and then you want to send out your postcards. What training have you done? You know,
Do you have a reel?
do you have a reel of information? Don't try to make sure you realize there should be succession, because the chance they do catch your postcard, call you in or look you up, and they see nothing, then you've now burned yourself with them for I don't know how long until you can find a way to get back in. So go and have these things done when you're ready to go in front of them and really show them what you can do. And it's just basic concepts of marketing. You know, you don't put out a major market project when it's not fully vetted. You know, if Coca-Cola marketed when they first came out and didn't realize they had hairs in all their Cokes, they would fail, because so you have to make sure that when you present something.
It was a horrible example.
It was terrible, and I apologize. But I was trying to make a really dramatic, point that you really got, that you really want to be ready when you market yourself, because you get called in, you want to show them the goods, that your marketing, them calling you was worth it, because you may not get another chance.
Yeah. So do your homework, do your classes, get going, and this is something that I think that a lot of you can take advantage of. I hope this was helpful. I wish I would have known this starting out. It's little tips like this. So I always try to give back in the sense of what would have helped me had I known this when I was starting out. So hopefully you take heed and put it to use. And how awesome is it to have him on again? Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
If you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, head over there right now and subscribe to Headshots by Peggy, and click the little bell so you don't miss any of my amazing videos. Follow me on social media all over the place, and follow Merrick McCartha as well. He is at Merrick the Actor and Instagram, and on Facebook.
It's Merrick McCartha,
Merrick
McCartha's fine.
He's on Facebook all the time. I'm trying to get him on Instagram.
Sure.
Trying.
I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
But
I
don't
didn't post for 2 months.
I haven't really found it. But yeah, you're right. That is important. We'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we should talk about that, about marketing that and internet marketing. But we're not going to do that today.
Not today.
Not today.
Postcards today.
Postcards today. Have a great week.